My top 5 black tie fragrances, budget edition. Let's go. So first off, I think we need to define exactly what a black tie event is. And this is pretty much like your charity balls, your galas, maybe some weddings, any event where a man is going to be expected to wear a tuxedo. For some of you younger guys, this could include prom, but probably depends on what school you're at. However, a lot of these fragrances are probably not prom appropriate. I'll try to remember to let you know which ones are. For me, when I think of a black tie scent, I want something that's going to announce its presence and kind of dominate the room, but in the most subtle way possible. I want that calm, quiet strength. I don't want anything too sweet, too loud, too screechy or in your face. I want something that announces its presence just by being there, not by hopping on the loudspeaker. So starting us off at number 5 is Barrett Fragrances, Crown and Abyss. Now this is their take on The World According to Arthur from Penhaligon's. This is a slightly fresh, powdery, sweet fragrance that kind of reminds me of like Gucci Guilty Elixir minus the florals. Out of my top 5, this is probably the sweetest out of all the fragrances, and this one would be prom appropriate. Now you can get this at Barrett Fragrances for under $40 with a discount code, making it pretty accessible to almost everybody. Now numbers 3 and 4 are pretty much interchangeable, and that's Lattafa Asad Elixir and Maison Asrar Thriller. I made a video the other day discussing this fragrance, and I said first impression wise it reminded me a lot of YSL 6 or like a smoother version of Thriller. Now after smelling them side by side, there's some obvious differences, but I certainly think these fragrances could be cousins. There is a spiciness to the Thriller and to the 6 that the Asad doesn't have, and that's why I'm making these kind of interchangeable. If you enjoy that spiciness, you need to get the Thriller. Want something smoother and definitely less spicy, get the Asad Elixir. For me personally, I'm going to go with the Asad Elixir. However, they are very similar fragrances, very masculine, woody, resinous, ambery, a little bit sweet, and certainly heavier style scents. I believe Thriller is only available on Jomashop. I think it runs something like $45. The Asad Elixir you can find like almost anywhere, usually under $40. I think Gift Express has it for something like $37. Now in the number 2 spot is my actual number 1 choice, and I know that makes basically no sense at all. I didn't feel comfortable putting it number 1 because its DNA is pretty unique and certainly not for everybody, but it is Afnan Supremacy Noir. It's a sweet, spicy, aromatic, very mature, very gentlemanly. To me, this is how I would assume like Bruce Wayne smells. It's kind of bright and it's kind of fresh, but underneath all that, there's a little bit of this like dark, mysterious energy that makes it a little bit intriguing, a little bit seductive. Now that probably has a lot to do with it being called Noir and the bottle being black, but if you've smelled this, you'll know what I'm talking about. To me, this kind of smells like old money that doesn't need to let you know that it has old money. Being an Afnan, this is very affordable. I don't think I've ever seen it over $40. Afnan Supremacy Noir. Now coming in at the number 1 spot, Montblanc Explorer Extreme. Now I put this at number 1 for a couple of reasons. First off, this is definitely mass appealing, definitely easy to wear and easy to pull off, while still having all those kind of masculine black tie qualities we talked about earlier. This is essentially Montblanc's designer take on Creed's Absolute Aventus. This isn't quite as citrusy or bright, but this is a little bit sweeter and quite a bit smoother, and to me, I think overall it's a little bit more wearable. Even though it's sweet and smooth, there's definitely some depth to this fragrance that makes it appropriate for a formal event. But another reason why it's number 1 is the price. I was doing some research the other day for this, found the smaller bottle of this, the 2-ounce one, on Jomashop for $55. That is a ridiculously cheap price for this type of fragrance. And out of all 5 of them, this is the one that's easiest to recommend because it's very, very wearable, and I think a lot of people are going to like this fragrance. There's my top 5 black tie budget fragrances. I'll make sure to link all of them down below if you want to support the page. However, if not, don't worry about it, just don't pay full price. If you feel like something should have been on the list and wasn't, please let me know down below. Until next time, save money, smell better.